Okay, so we are moving to the next session. You remember we talked about how to develop and maintain good relationship in the process, and what are the different activities and responsibilities that both mentor and mentees have to maintain this relationship, that it does not become dysfunctional, right. So, we are going to discuss some other activities related to mentoring process, which are very important, okay, in order to ensure that mentoring process is effective, right. So, in the next session, that is fourth session, we are going to discuss some other mentoring activities, and if you look at these mentoring activities as such, you have to see that what mentors do actually, right. So far we have been talking about assessing the mentors and mentoring, matching their needs and expectations, building relationship, right. But the most important thing is the delivery part, third part, right. And here what we are going to discuss is that how mentor is going to help the mentee to achieve the goals and objectives. In what way is going to, what kind of activities he is going to perform, what kind of assistance he is going to provide. You remember I had given some idea about that sharing critical knowledge, insights, okay, sharing his own experiences, how he grew and developed all kind of things in the organization, right. So, the basic idea is that when you start this mentoring process is the third stage, okay, after analysis, need identification and identifying and developing the relationship. Okay. You basically get into the relationship and the process starts. Okay. So, at the first stage actually you try to set the goals and objectives with each other, and then you have to see that how are you going to do it. Okay. So, basically when this relationship builds up and then you agree to work with each other, what is very important is that you help him to set goals and objectives. That is the first important activity. Okay. Since the goals and objectives is set by the individual itself in consultation with the mentor, and you are also going to share this information with your line managers. So, you follow the rules of setting goals, it has to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic and within a time frame. So, these things are communicated and you are going to moderate or facilitate this process of achieving the goals, setting the goals and objectives by the mentor. So, the most important assistance that you are going to provide, okay, as a mentor, that he is going to set goals in a way which could be achieved within a given time frame, which is realistic, which he can achieve, right. So, you have to see whether the mentee has these qualities to identify goals or not. Okay. If he does not have, then you have to see that what is the process of goal setting, that is to be explained, and you tell him that okay, this is how we go about setting the goals and objectives. It may involve say identifying his strengths and weaknesses in terms of knowledge and skill base, in terms of opportunities that is available, okay, what are the threats he fails, what are the weaknesses he has. So, based on this kind of self assessment and the process that is developed for setting the goals, you probably help him in achieving this first activity, that is setting the goals and objectives. So, that is very important, right. So, what kind of thing is required, okay, in setting goals and objectives. Okay. So, what are the qualities that is to be developed by the individual, okay, and how we are going to facilitate in the process, right. So, what are the qualities that is to be developed to achieve not only the goals for the mentoring process, even the career goals, even the personal and professional goals, right. So, you are going to ensure that he has certain qualities as a mentee, or if he does not have, he develops these qualities over a period of time during the mentoring process. So, that it helps him to achieve the goals and objectives of the mentoring process in terms of his personal professional growth, leading to growth of the development of the organization also. So, if you look at some of these qualities, it includes knowledge, judgment, resilience and independence. Okay. These are a select few which are very important in terms of when you are talking about knowledge and skill, it means that he must be aware, acquainted with how the system works in the organization, and how his activity is going to be integrated with other activities in the organization. What he is doing, what is the value and importance of those activities, how it is going to contribute to the organization, to the department, and similarly he should also know that how the organization works, right. So, to start with, you have to provide him an input about a broad perspective of the organization, its working system, right, maybe its structure, its culture, its leadership, and that is where you are going to develop these qualities in the individual by sharing your critical knowledge, by providing him certain insights. See, this is how the organization works, right. Suppose he comes to with a complaint to you and they say, you know, this is a system, that is how it works. So, instead of complaining, you should try to accommodate and adjust yourself with this kind of things, right. So, and this kind of things had to be developed by the mentees in the process. So, what I am trying to tell you here is that you make sure that he develops these qualities, like he should have a very broad view of how the organization works in terms of its systems, which may include culture, processes, leadership, the environment, even the politics in the organization. Okay. Because he must be aware that okay, this is what is going on in the organization, this is how the system is working, this is how the people are getting promoted, this is how the jobs are allotted, this is how the systems work. So, when we are talking about the system works, so these are the things that need to be explained and he had to be acquainted with. So, he must understand how the system works, that is very very important to start with, and then moving to his own work, that how he is working and whether whatever he is doing is critical, it contributes to his performance, unit's performance, okay, or simultaneously you can say group performance. So, he must understand, and then he sees that in the overall growth and development of the organization, in what way he is contributing, that is very very important. That is the second point I am talking about, integration into the system. Then in order to see that he works effectively, whether he has the requisite knowledge and skill base, right, and with whether he understands other motivation, what others are expecting, what are the needs and expectations of other people, what are the needs and expectations of his, and how his needs and expectations are aligned with others in the organization, and whether he is going to fit into that or not. So, with the technical competence or the knowledge and skill, he is going to perform his effectively, okay, and then he is going to see that how he is going to fit into the system in a better way. So, that he can through accommodation, through adjustment, through other activities, and then aligning his own needs and expectations and motivations with others in the process. Okay. So, but it is not an easy job, and that is where the mentor comes to your aid, and he is going to give you his critical input on these things, okay, so that you are able to grow and develop. Moving to the next part, that is judgment and wisdom. Yes, you need to make decisions, and it depends upon your level of wisdom. Okay. We are not calling it as intelligence, because intelligence is something that helps you to accommodate and adjust, but wisdom is something that goes beyond your intelligence, that help you to visualize certain things in the context, that okay, this is what needs to be done, right. So, if you have those kind of judgment and wisdom, if you are having the capability to make decisions, okay, and visualize things in a broader perspective, right, not only for yourself, but for the organization, your alignment and fitment both, that probably is going to help you to see that what is the impact of the choices, the cause and effect relationship. See, if this is happening, this is how it is going to impact you. If this is happening, how this is going to impact the organization, right. Then another important thing is your character, in terms of your honesty and integrity, that is very very important, okay, for growth and development. And these are the two things which is also a part of what you call capabilities and abilities. Okay. So, you need to ensure that nobody is going to raise questions on you, that you are using certain practices which may not be desirable, which may not be unethical, right. So, in that way you have to prove yourself. Then third important thing is that how decisions are made by you, okay, not only about you, but about others, in terms of events, in terms of certain phenomena, or events in terms of individuals, other individuals. What is how you attribute certain things to other individuals, right, because that is very very important, and that is where you try to establish cause and effect relationship. Okay. If somebody has got a promotion, do you attribute to his say potential and growth, or you do attribute to the politics of the organization. Okay. So, you need to make judgment, you need to think about it, you have to use your own wisdom to see that how the system works, where do you fit in, what kind of alignment is required by you, okay. And you also need to have the kind of character that would be required in the process, so that it helps you to take good decisions not only about you, but about others. Okay. And you also need certain psychological qualities like resilience. Okay. Resilience is something that is very important, because not necessary that all the time we are going to experience success. Okay. You may also experience failures at times. We all experience failures in our personal and professional lives, but what we do? Do we sit idle? Okay. Do we get into a depression? No, we bounce back, and that is one attribute which is very important for all of us. In case of failures, right, we should be able to bounce back and come with better force, think about it, decide what needs to be done, reframe our strategy for our growth, and then bounce back. That is very important. But what is the strategy that is to be adopted for that, so that you become more and more resilient? Okay. The most important thing that yes, you accept your faults, your mistakes, and you also ensure and develop an action plan that how to overcome these kind of problems in future. Okay. So, suppose you have made a mistakes, you have met with a failure. So, you assess that, analyze that failure and see what are the reasons, what needs to be done in order to overcome these kind of things. Okay. That is very important. And another important issue that is related to resilience, that if you feel insecure in the job at a personal level, probably you will not be able to bounce back. Then this kind of quality, what we call resilience, may not be there. It means that you are not resilient enough, because emotionally you have to come back, because your feeling may lead you to depression. Your feeling, if you bounce back, may lead to what you call a good emotion, where you feel happy and good about yourself and think that okay, yes, we all make mistakes, but it does not mean that we give up. So, what we need to do is that we develop our plan of actions by analyzing our mistakes and faults and see what needs to be done in order to see that we are able to develop ourselves. And finally, the mentoring, another important mentoring activities is that independence. And what is the role of mentor here is? Suppose you fail, or you are going to mentor. So, what is the responsibility as a mentor for you? Okay. So, the mentor is supposed to give the kind of emotional support which is required, and tell him that okay, even if you have failed, you need not worry, you have to develop yourself, you analyze you help him in analyzing the problems because of which the failure has been there, and then you see that how to overcome this, and that is where you have important role. So, you are having important role at different levels in increasing knowledge, skill base, in broadening his judgment and wisdom, you making sure that he become more resilient in face of failures, right. And the most important and final thing is independence. Okay. In a mentoring activity, make sure that mentee does not become too dependent on the mentor for everything. In fact, he should not be dependent at all on mentors. Mentors are not going to do anything for the mentees. Mentee has to take the responsibility and the challenges. Okay. So, gradually you have to make them understand that it is your job and you have to take the responsibility. As a mentor, my responsibility is to ensure that you succeed, and whatever input is required will be given by me, but I am not going to do it for you, you have to do it for you. It means that you develop him a sense of responsibility, so that he takes challenges. Okay. And how are you going to develop this? You make him independent, do not spoon feed as a mentor, but in the process what you need to do is that you tell him okay, this is how it can be done. You give him ideas, you share your insight, and probably that is going to help. Like for example, as teachers, as we give ideas to the students on which they can work, but if you are going to work on it, then what for they are there. Okay. So, you have to develop this kind of independence, okay, in a students or even in employees to take responsibilities or challenges. Otherwise, what will happen? For everything they will run to the mentors and ask for advice. You are not there to solve their problems, they are supposed to solve their problems. The only thing that you need to do as a mentor is to tell them that how you can solve your problems, let them explore the possibilities of how to solve the problems, right. That is more important. So, if this kind of empowerment is there, it means that they are delegated authority to decide what to do and how to do, probably they would be able to develop themselves. in the process, right, and they become confident and self reliant. That is very important, because you are not going to mentor them for the life, right. You are going to mentor them for some time. After they are going to work independently, and if you have not mentored them well, so it means that they would then in future they would not be able to do anything, they would not be able to take challenges, they will never feel confident, okay, and they will not be able to prosper and grow themselves, right. That is very, very important. So, these are some of the issues related to mentoring activities, and move further and discuss about some other things. So, what kind of assistance is provided? If you look at this picture, what does it suggest? It means that some kind of advice is being given by the mentor to the mentees, how to do or perform the job. Okay. So, this may include both personal and professional assistance, okay. Listening, that is more important, that is a sounding board for problems. Okay. It means, if you listen to the individual or the mentor, probably he would be able to express his opinion, concerns, voice related to the problem. Okay. And what is your role is that you give him advice, counsel him what needs to be done. You tell him that what could be the possible solutions, or what are the sources of information from where you can go get it, right. For example, if somebody comes to me and asks that okay, this is the problem on which he wants to work, what to do, then I can suggest okay, why do not you go and look for this information at these places. So, these are the sources of information where you can get this information, okay, and let him work on it, then only he will be able to develop. And then you also tell him, see that is how the organization works, okay. And you tell him that okay, if you are going to work with a focused attention, probably this is the path of the success, and that is how you are going to achieve success in your life, both personal and professional both. Similarly, you are also going to help to develop self confidence and winning behavior, as I have already discussed about it, that it is very, very important. Okay. So, you are going to make him resilient, you are going to make sure that he is empowered, he take independent decisions at later stage, right. You have to see that he develops confidence, okay. And you are the only role that you are going to perform is encourage and inspire him, that will motivate him. Okay. So, you are going to direct him towards excellence, okay. And then you teach by examples. Say there is a better way to say, like lead by examples, okay. See, and you shall say this in this condition, that is how you did it, this is what you did it, right, and you grew ahead, right. You can give your example of growth and development, and you can share your experiences. So, instead of doing anything else, if you lead by examples, you tell him that through your examples, that is, see this is how it has happened, probably it would be better for the mentees, right. Exploring, okay. Make sure that he develops this habit of exploring. Okay. If he does not develop this exploring habits, probably he would not be able to explore other options and alternatives while making decisions. Okay. Do not allow him to think in a straightforward manner. Okay. Do not go for convergent kind of thinking, right. You allow him to think not 1 plus 1 equal to 2, but you allow him to think how 2 plus 2 becomes 5. That is more important. So, that he can explore other options, he goes out of the box, okay, and tell him that what are the different options that is available to you, right. Okay. I give a very small example to explain this. Suppose you want to say that okay, 9 into 6, 9 into 7, it is a mathematical example that I am giving. So, it becomes 63. Okay. So, it is the only way to get 63, there could be other ways to get 63, it could be 7 into 9, it could be other things that you can find out, right, 3 into 21, right. So, all answers will be same, right, is not it. So, you have to find different options to arrive at the same goal, these are the different options. So, mathematically it can be proved. So, you have to develop a habit, so that mentors are able to explore alternatives, options, and see that which one is a better option. Not only able to explore options, but he should be able to see what are the advantages and disadvantages of going to different options for achieving success, right. Suppose you say that okay, this is what he wants to learn, okay. How should he go about it? Okay. whether he should go for a seminar, whether he should go for joining a course, or whether he should go for a tutoring. Okay. So, there could be different options that can be opted for. Get into it, tell him that identify the options, not only options, but what are the different advantages and disadvantages of various options, right, and then you allow him to select based upon his capabilities and competence, right. For example, suppose you say that okay, you want to get into a management program, okay, you are an engineer, you want to get into a management program in a good IIM, and so the only option that you have is CAT, but CAT is not the only option. Then you have CMAT, you have MAT, there could be other GMAT, there are the various options that you have through which you can get into a management education to succeed in life. Now, which exam you are going to take up? It depends upon your competence, right, and then you see what are the advantages of going for different examinations, what it can lead to you, right. So, exploring is a very important activity that is to be learned by the mentors related to decisions, related to career, or related to success or anything. So, if you are able to explore various options probably and then decide about an option, probably you are going to be more successful in the process. Then other assistance, right, psychoanalyzing. What do you mean by psychoanalyzing? Okay. Psychoanalyzing is nothing else but assessing yourself. Okay. So, you are going to do some kind of SWOT analysis for yourself, okay, in terms of strength. Okay. And strength could be related to your skills and your behavior, okay, and then you would look at your weaknesses. Okay. So, that is first part. Then identify problems, mindsets, behavior which impede success, because if you have a stereotyped attitude, probably that is a mindset related problem which is going to impede your success. If you have developed certain prejudices, then it is going to impede success. For example, you are being promoted and you have been asked to get transferred to a different place at a distance, but you do not want to go, okay, because you think that that is not a good place, you will not be able to work there. So, this is the kind of mindset that you have developed about the place and the behavior. So, this is going to impede your success, right. So, you need to open up, you need to have to change your mindset, your behavior, which is going to lead to success. So, two things that you have to do is assess yourself in terms of your strengths and weaknesses, and then go for a change in your mindset and attitude and behavior, which is going to help you to succeed. It is very, very important. So, the first, when I am talking about psychoanalyzing, the first thing is to be done is that assessing the individual in terms of his strength and mind both, okay, both at the conscious level and unconscious level, and that is what psychoanalysis means. Okay. There could be some internal fears in your unconscious mind that need to be explored and brought out, and then you need to work on it. Okay. The best way to identify those internal fears or how to source them is to get feedback from others about yourself, so that you can understand yourself better as well as others. That is very, very important. Then confronting. Okay. Confronting is going to be non-judgmental. Okay. You are not only going to talk about the negative behavior about others, but you also talk about the positive behavior, and make sure that this confrontation is always healthy. And sometimes when you talk about criticism or confrontation, it has to be positive and healthy, and it has to be for the growth and development. Okay. So, as a mentor, you need to confront with the mentor if he is doing something wrong, but in a very positive way. The approach should be to help him out, not having any kind of negative attitude or behavior towards the mentors, and you at the same time you need to be non-judgmental in your approach. That is very, very important. Okay. And based upon this kind of analysis, you need to refocus. As a mentor, you need to see that the person is able to focus him to see a different future or a different kind of outcome, because if he is going to be guided by his say existing mindset, probably he would not be able to grow and develop. So, he need to change that and then reframe, that is what we call it, okay. Reframe or refocus, so that you are able to think about the growth and development. And then delegation, authority. Okay. Okay. You provide him enough authority, and that is where we talk about empowering, which is going to develop self confidence, right, and supporting. definitely. As a mentor, it is your responsibility to support him whenever there is any criticality arises. That is very, very important, because if you are not able to support him, probably he will not be able to stand the pressure. So, sometimes there could be pressure from line managers, from the top management, and they might affect your growth and development, and that is where you as a senior person, since you have influence and power, you come to support the individual, so that his growth and development does not impede, right. So, these are the various kind of assistance which has to be provided during the mentoring. As a mentor, you need to understand that okay, this is what is to be done as a mentor for you. Okay. Another issue which is very, very important for this is whether you are mentorable or not, whether a person who needs to be mentored is mentorable, can this person really be groomed and developed or not. This question basically is raised by the mentors, and if look for certain qualities, and if you find that if these qualities are there, then he is definitely mentorable. Like if he is ready to listen to you, if he is ready to listen, yes, this is one important quality. If he is ready to take ownership of his wisdom, is going to make use of his knowledge and skill base to perform, he is ready to take assignments, challenges, responsibilities based upon his knowledge and skill base. Okay. Whether he trusts you or you trust him, whether he can be trusted, that is an important thing, because that helps in building relationship. Whether whatever information that is being provided by you or shared by you will be used by him or not. Okay. Whether it is being used for something different by the mentor, by the mentee, then it is a different case. Then probably it will not be able to help him. He is not a mentorable guy, right. Look at this. So, what does this show? This shows that how the interaction happens between the mentor and the mentee. So, what we have been talking about is what kind of assistance is provided by the mentors and the mentees, and in the process what are the things that need to be developed in the mentee, so that he grows and developed, okay. And that actually helps in strengthening the relationship. So, the mentor and mentee interaction is very important, how they interact. Okay. If you look at this picture, it is a caricature which shows that the level is somewhere not is very, very comfortable, right. Maybe you have different things in mind, right. If you think that you are a mentor who try to mentee somebody, or there are proteges, okay, who are your clones. Clones means that you try to develop them just like you, okay, or someone who was favored by you, he is going to be your mentees, okay, in the past. But if this kind of situation is there, probably it is not a healthy one, right. So, as a mentor, you need to see that your mentees, assessment of the mentees should not be based on favoritism, okay, and you do not develop just like him, okay, because each individual has different traits, personalities and characteristics. Let him develop on their own based on his qualities, his knowledge, his temperament, his traits and his characteristics. Do not expect him like to be, because you have a different traits, different personality, different characteristics, right. So, do not think that he is going to be a clone like you, do not think that okay, he is also going to do the same thing what you have done in the past, right. Then it is not one way in the sense that it is not the mentor who is going to provide all the assistance to the people. Okay. So, make sure that both of them are going to satisfy with each other. It means that as a mentee you also share information regarding your growth and development, how well you are doing. Okay. There is this proverb that old dog can still learn new tricks or learn about a changing world. So, it means that you can also learn something from the mentors, right, that is mentees, that is very, very important. It is not one way. So, the interaction has to be two way, where both of them are going to learn each other, both of them are going to satisfy the needs and requirements of each other, right, by sharing information. Because as a mentee, since you are new, you are from a different generation, your knowledge base and skill base may be different. My knowledge base or the mentor's knowledge base may be different. He may not be knowing a lot of things, which the mentee might knowing me. So, he may share that information with him for his growth and development, right. So, you start a relationship. Okay. So, beginning a formal relationship, either start or end with a request for mentoring, that is how it goes up. Then you need to build comfort and trust, that is based on that is basically the pillars of the what you call this relationship. Okay. So, you initially have some discussion which starts with background, education, weather, traffic, family, all kind of things. So, this basically this helps you to establish a good relationship in the process, right. If you look at the mentoring process, because that is how you come to know about each other's families, each other background, education, and that basically helps you to understand and assess also each other very well, right. Then you ask with broad open questions, how things are going, okay, what are the things that you do basically, and that helps for the mentor to evaluate personally, and the same thing can be done by the mentee as well, right. So, both of them do this, and that is how the relationship starts. Second point is negotiating and clarifying expectations. So, you frame certain rules of behaviors, that is very important when I am talking about negotiations. So, you negotiate norms and values and how this relationship is to be carried out, right, and what we expect from each other in the relationship. Okay. So, basically what you expect from the mentees, that you have to tell as a mentor. Okay. What are the different roles that you ask him to do, right? What are the needs, that is very important, and what would be the length of commitment for both of them, okay? And based on that you are going to develop an agreement. It could be verbal or non-verbal both, right, as you wish, or written what you call. And then this negotiation has to be acceptable to both, right. Whatever is negotiated in terms of expectations, roles, responsibilities, commitment or agreement on mentoring has to be done, okay, and acceptable to both. Then these are the some certain characteristics, part of that I have already talked about it. Trust and confidentiality from both sides, mentors as well as mentees. Communication, that is the essence of it. Mentors must make time available to the mentees, and similarly mentors frequently meet with the mentees. Predictability, you should be able to predict what will happen if you are going to do this, that is true for both. Respect for each other, right, self esteem and confidence for both. It means as a mentor you should never say do certain things which is going to demotivate or demoralize your mentees, and at the same time mentees should also keep mentors in high esteem and confidence, that is very important. And then you develop partnership with each other, because you are going to work together for at least for some time, maybe a year or so, right. So, what you look for a mentor? Okay. As these are the things that need to be looked by the mentee in the mentor, right. Whether he is experienced enough, he has knowledge, different activities related to the systems and processes of the organization or not, that is one thing. Is he a good listener, right. Good communication skills, we have talked most of the points, whether he has good professional networks and relationship, whether he is going to share his knowledge, whether it is related to failures or successes, whatever it is, right, and whether he is going to spend time. So, if that happens, it means now if both of them, both expectations of both the mentors and mentees have been matched, and they can go for a good relationship. And once the negotiation happens, you are able to develop good relationship, then you can see that what needs to happen, right, and whether he has the honesty and integrity, and whether since he is a senior person, he must be respectable enough by his peers at the senior level or not. Similarly, for the protege or the mentee, you are also going to look into these kind of things, whether he is passion for learning, listening and sharing, whether he is willing to invest time, whether he is conscious about managing responsibilities and completing assignments, whether he has a good communication skill or not, whether he has the potential for growth, and that can be done by potential appraisal, and then you see whether he is good receptive to feedback or not, or he is take it defensively, okay. And the same quality, honesty and integrity is also expected from the mentee as well. And at the end of that, what you are going to do? You are going to conclude the relationship. Once the mentoring process, the result of the mentoring process in terms of process outcome achieved, then finally the process ends and the mentoring relationship ends. Now, we are going to work independently. If you look at this, now he has been mentored, so he can grow independently on the path of growth and development. Okay. So, it is clearly negotiated and defined when you are going to end the relationship. Informally you may continue, but formally you are going to end this relationship, and since it is for a structured period of time, you have to see that this relationship ends on a happy note, okay, and you make sure that he is already grown up. Okay. That is all. Thank you very much.